This Bard's Tale begins near White Orchard, with my dear friend Geralt of Rivia seeking his lover of yore, the sorceress Yennefer. She'd eluded him for years, but now seemed just a few steps ahead. After many trials and tribulations, Geralt finally learned that Yen was in nearby Vizima. Geralt and Yennefer were reunited, but something even more important happened in Vizima. Geralt learned that Cirilla, his one-time ward, had returned from afar, and she was in danger. He was to find her, at the Emperor's command and Yennefer's behest. The Witcher's contact in Velen was to be Hendrik, the Emperor's spy. Hendrik was operating incognito in that war-ravaged land. His mission, to gather intelligence about Ciri. Yet Geralt arrived too late. The Wild Hunt had reached Hendrik first. The Witcher learned nothing from the spy's corpse, but the wraiths had failed to find his notes. Geralt read them, and knew that Ciri had been a guest of the Bloody Baron, a local warlord, and that she'd quarreled with a witch. While searching for the witch Ciri had quarreled with, Geralt ran into an old friend, Ciri Metz. The sorceress told the Witcher about a masked mage. Ciri, it seemed, had taken shelter in his hideout. The Witcher set off to find it, with Ciri in tow. Ciri had never reached the elven mage, yet the Wild Hunt had. The ghostly retinue was one step ahead of Geralt, or so it seemed. The Witcher felt that all was lost, until Ciri gave him a new lead, the Crones of Crookback Bog. While in Crookback Bog, Ciri had happened on the Crones. The beastly sisters took her in, then wavered, unsure if they should eat her or surrender her to the Wild Hunt. Ciri escaped before they could decide. Pursued by a spectral rider, she had fled into the swamp, where Geralt lost her trail once more. He now needed a new lead. Wounded and tired, Ciri collapsed in the swamp. Some peasants found her and took her to the Baron, Velen's self-appointed ruler. The warlord took the young woman in, had her nursed back to health, then sent her on her way to Novigrad. As the Emperor's spies told it, Ciri had reached Novigrad. A lone attempt to find her in the North's largest city would certainly fail. But Geralt had friends he could count on. The Witcher decided to contact Triss Merigold. Triss could not help Geralt, yet she did direct him to Corrine Tilly, an oneromancer and an expert at finding the lost and the missing. Guided by Corrine Tilly, the Witcher had a dream. In it, Ciri and I, the Bard Dandelion, were reunited. Geralt now knew that to find Ciri, he would first need to find his dear old friend. But finding me proved no simple task. For having fallen afoul of Novigrad's underworld bosses, I'd disappeared. Yet Geralt soon discovered my whereabouts, a cell in the dungeon of the Temple Guard. With the help of our friends, Geralt managed to free me. Good thing, too, for indeed I knew what had happened to Ciri. Sadly, she was no longer in Novigrad. Pursued by bandits, then cornered by the Temple Guard, she had disappeared in a flash of light and a gust of heat. Where to? This I did not know. As Yennefer of Vengerberg told it, there had been a magic explosion in Skellige. Related to Ciri's reappearance, it had destroyed a vast swath of forest. Geralt set out for the Isles to join the sorceress, and seek further clues of Ciri's whereabouts. The druid Ermion, however, had no intention of letting Yennefer examine the woods, so Geralt and Yen sought out Jarl Kraken-Kret, who helped break down the druid's resolve. Yennefer's suspicions proved true. Ciri had appeared in Skellige. She'd arrived from another world together with a masked mage. She and the mage had fought the Wild Hunt before fleeing through portals that carried them to Velen. There, one trail ended, another began. A good time later, the Wild Hunt had reappeared on Hindarsfjall, meaning Ciri, too, might have returned to Skellige. On Hindarsfjall, Geralt and Yen learned that Ciri had returned to the Isles. She'd rejoined her friend, the masked mage. They had boarded a boat and sailed off in an unknown direction. The boat had returned, one passenger on board, a creature as mindless as it was hideous. One of Skellige's jarls captured the poor beast, then sold it to a merchant from Novigrad. His long search for Ciri led Geralt to conclude that Uma, the ugliest man alive and the victim of a curse, was the key to finding the young woman. Geralt needed to lift the curse, so he took Uma to the home of the world's greatest specialists on dark spells, to the Witcher's fortress of Kaer Morhen. The curse that held Uma proved hard to lift, but Yennefer and the Witchers managed to do it. The ugliest man alive revealed himself to be not man, but elf, and an elven sage at that. Avallac'h, for this was his name, was the elven mage who had helped Ciri flee the hunt, then hidden her away on the Isle of Mists. Geralt found Ciri at last, on the Isle of Mists where the elven mage had concealed her. There was no time to rejoice, for the wild hunt descended on them. They fled, Ciri teleporting them to Kaer Morhen, where their friends awaited. The wild hunt arrived at Kaer Morhen soon after. A great battle ensued, and the fortress's defenders might all have perished had Ciri not demonstrated her powers. So sudden and violent was her outburst that the wild hunt was forced to withdraw. The battle was won, the war had barely started. After the Battle of Kaer Morhen, the defenders licked their wounds and mourned their losses, save Ciri, who began to plan her revenge. She woke Geralt one night and urged him to travel with her to Velen, to the top of Bald Mountain, where she knew she'd find Imlerith. She had decided he had to die. Her plan proved sound. On Bald Mountain, Geralt and Ciri killed Imlerith and two of the Crones. Spurred by their success, they resolved to challenge Eredin. Geralt had to face Eredin, but could only hope to beat him with the help of friends. The wild hunt could be defeated with exceptionally powerful magic, so Triss and Yen set out to reconvene the Lodge of Sorceresses. Avallac'h, too, began to lay plans of his own. The elven sage decided to erode the King of the Hunt's support in his own realm. With Geralt in tow, he ventured through other worlds to the city of Tirnalia. There they found Eredin's viceroy, Gels. Gels had been a loyal subject of the Alder folk's previous king. When he learned Eredin was a regicide, he agreed to help defeat the usurper. The king of the wild hunt sailed aboard the Naglfare, a giant longship that traveled between worlds. As Gels had advised, the Witcher set out to find the Sunstone, an artifact needed to draw Eredin into a trap. Using the Sunstone, the sorceresses of the Lodge summoned the Naglfare to a bay on the Isle of Unvik. Thus began the last decisive battle against the hunt. The king of the wild hunt lay defeated. As to Ciri, with her exceptional gift, her story was hardly done. The sorceresses helped the Witcher determine that Ciri and Avallac'h were somewhere on Unvik. Geralt and Yennefer set out to find them. Eredin's last words proved a lie. Avallac'h and Ciri had gone together, he as her mentor, to a portal that had opened within Tor Gavalka, Falka's tower. Ciri entered the tower, prepared to use her powers to end a danger once and for all, to save all worlds from eradication in the grip of the White Frost.